Blackstone Audio presents The Conservative Heart: How to Build a Fairer, Happier, and More Prosperous America by Arthur C. Brooks. This book is read by P.J. Ochlan. In memory of James Q. Wilson. Introduction. The Conservative Heart: How we have changed the world, but can't seem to get our footing. I remember the first time I saw real poverty. It was the early 1970s, so I would have been 7 or 8 years old. Flipping through a copy of National Geographic magazine, I found a heartbreaking photo. It showed a malnourished African boy, about my own age, with flies on his face and a distended belly. I had never seen poverty like that before. True, by today's standards, my childhood neighborhood in Seattle would be considered pretty austere. As far as I know, my parents were the only ones in our working-class neighborhood with a college education. Some of our neighbors relied on food stamps. Most of the families were headed by a single parent. But compared to that photo in National Geographic, my neighborhood seemed like Beverly Hills. The tragic image provoked two sensations in me. The first was helplessness. There was really nothing I could do for the boy, besides offering up some prayers, or maybe sending my allowance to UNICEF. Even as a little kid, I grasped that anything I could personally do would be inadequate. After helplessness came indignation. It was not fair that I was well fed and loved in my home in Seattle, while that boy was starving to death in Africa, through absolutely no fault of his own. Of course, poverty didn't just affect children in Africa. I was born on May 21, 1964, one day before President Lyndon B. Johnson gave his famous speech announcing the Great Society. As I would learn later, it was a time of growing awareness of the crushing poverty that existed in places like Appalachia and Mississippi, as well as America's cities. We were recognizing that the poverty in our midst was an affront to our sense of fairness and to the principle that everyone in America deserves a fair shot and a square deal. Was our domestic poverty less severe than that in Africa and India? Sure. But any poverty in a great nation like ours was a problem we had to solve. I grew up, went to school, found a job, and started a family. But that image of the boy from
Sample complete. Ready to continue?